Hello and welcome once again to another Board of Education monthly recap, board meeting recap, this time for the month of September 2020. I'm JD Harden, Executive Director of Communications and Public Relations, and I'm joined here, as always, by our co-host, Superintendent Mary Elizabeth Davis. Welcome.
Thanks, JD, and it's good to be here today, and I look forward to a great recap.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us once again as we, recap all the things that our Board of Education took action on during their monthly meeting. Now, again, the month of September was jam-packed with information for our board to really consume and share out with the community about all the actions that, have been taking place to facilitate a start to the school year, whether that be remote, but also through some of the actions that have been taken through some special call meetings prior to this one about bringing students back to campus. A lot of excitement building to finally, once again, after about a 5-month hiatus, bring students back to school buildings, but we're doing it safely and we're doing it responsibly. And Superintendent Davis, you had the opportunity to really lay out the presentations that unfolded last night to make our board aware and make the community aware of the extremely heavy actions that have been taking place to get our school ready to welcome students back.
That's right, JD. First and foremost, we started with 4 objectives. And honestly, the first one was that this is incredibly complex. And there is no way to simplify the preparations that are underway. And it really resulted in us having a very lengthy meeting with a series of reports aimed at providing the board a comprehensive review of the preparations that have been made in order to sustain an effective remote learning environment while reopening safe, healthy, and effective learning on campus. That opportunity to discuss the complexity of this work really gave the board this moment to evaluate the readiness of this organization and to refine and contribute to our final steps as we approach September 28th, which is really our next phase of welcoming students back on campus. So our first objective was to acknowledge the complexity of this. The second objective was to display the preparation and the rigorous work for that preparation at every job family. And the third was to acknowledge that this can't be built and done in isolation. And so we desire a culture of seeking stakeholder input, contributions, employee groups, as well as a very key partner in this work, which is our medical community. And then the very fourth objective is to talk about we are ready. We are ready for our doors to be open to young people in our community, and we are ready to serve families that have selected for the on-campus learning experience in a safe and healthy environment while we sustain effective remote learning for families who opt to continue remote learning. After a series of reports, JD, it really was evident to our Board of Education that this work, which started long before the last school day in May, was evolving at each phase. Our dedication to listening and learning from school districts that have opened is apparent, and there was a sense of confidence that the Board of Education was able to articulate as we proceeded through the series of reports. Now, JD, the one thing I would say is that in this recap, we're not afforded the time to re-deliver every element of each of those reports. But I would highly recommend our viewers take a moment and plug into the recording of that board meeting so that you can have firsthand exposure to the detailed preparations at every level of the organization, from every job family in the organization. And JD, in the end, it felt like a responsible and appropriate conversation to be having as we take this next important step as a community.
You're exactly right. And our board members had some good feedback for everybody that spoke and presented last night. And let's take a listen to some of their comments regarding the work that has been accomplished.
Oh, our nutrition department, they haven't stopped. They've not missed a beat this summer. And, and it's great food too. So I don't know how I know, but I know it's been delicious, and we appreciate their dedication to our children and to the school system.
This is amazing, what they're able to do to ensure that these plans work for their communities and their schools is truly just amazing. So I'm really, really grateful for our building leaders and our teachers, and that their voices are being heard. So thank you.
Congratulations to you, Dr. Davis, for the team's superior work. I just need to say congratulations because they've done superior work with the COVID. Thank you.
Appreciate you saying that, Mrs. Edwards. It's so important for our community to stay informed about what's going on, and I have to give a huge shout out to our communications team. They are so talented, and I'm just always blown away just by the professionalism that everything they post is just amazing.
So as you can see, our board members, as always, had a lot to say and a lot of compliments to go around to the extremely valuable work that has been taking place, to responsibly, safely welcome our students back while also keeping our remote learning environment as another high quality and effective option for our families as we, do school. We provide school. We provide an education for our students all across this district during this pandemic. Now, everything that was shared by our presenters during that, opportunity to update our board really came to life in a video that was also shown to the board about the day in the life of a student. Now, through this video that we're going to show you here shortly, it gives you a glimpse, and it gives our students, our families, our employees a glimpse of how school, for those who, for the students who chose to come back, will look for them. It's going to look different, and I'm sure everybody will see that as we take a look at this video right now.
We've missed you. The most exciting part about starting any new school year is welcoming you and all of your friends back to school and back to new and exciting experiences, new faces, new teachers, new challenges, and lots of learning. This year, we found a new way to start school. We are together, but not yet back together. As we prepare to gradually return to school, we have an opportunity to work together, do our part, and keep Henry healthy. By working together, we can keep all of our friends and families as safe as possible. We can protect ourselves, our families, and our communities. Are you wondering how we can do this? Well, let's take a look. Keeping each other safe starts at home. We need to watch for signs that we don't feel well and ask our families to do the same. We need our temperatures checked every day before we go to school. If we are warm or don't feel well, we need to stay home and get checked out. If we feel great and ready to learn, we need to make sure we're ready for the day. We need our masks and our water bottles, and of course our backpacks, books, and devices. Ready to go to school? Okay, mask up. If we're riding the bus, we need to make sure to follow all the new instructions to keep each other safe and healthy. When you're waiting at the bus stop, remember to keep your distance from your neighbors and other students riding the bus with you. Our bus drivers know just what to do. Listen to their help and stay spaced out as much as possible. Since you're no longer just around your family, the bus is the first place that you will need to make sure you are using responsible distancing and not getting too close to your friends. Close enough to say hi, but far enough away that we aren't touching. That will help us all stay safe. Loading the bus is easy. Make sure you have your mask on, and if you get on first, go all the way to the back. Whenever possible, you'll get a seat all to yourself so you can stretch out. How awesome is that? If you're not the first one on, take the farthest seat back that is still a seat away from your friends that boarded before you did. That way, you won't have to walk past each other or get too close. When you leave the bus, you do the opposite. If you were the last one in, you're the first one out. Makes a lot of sense, right? Everyone knows what to do and when to do it, and we still keep from walking past each other on the way out. That helps keep us safe. Our bus drivers care a lot about our safety. Every time we leave the bus, they make sure it's cleaned and sanitized and ready for our next trip. They have a ton of responsibility, and we want to do whatever we can to help by listening and following instructions. If you get to school by car, what's the first thing you do when you arrive? That's right, mask up. As soon as you say goodbye to your family, you'll make sure that your mask is on and follow your friends inside. Make sure to keep a safe distance from the friend in front of you. We all have to make sure that we use responsible distancing to keep each other safe. Responsible distancing is so important to keep our schools safe and healthy. We will hear reminders to stay distanced and keep our mask on all day, and we need to help remind each other too. Whenever we're heading to our classes, to get our breakfast or lunch, to the restroom, we need to make sure that we give each other some space and keep some healthy space for ourselves. Be sure to look at the signs placed around the schools that remind us to stay distanced and move in the right direction. If you still don't know what to do, ask a friend or a teacher or an administrator. Everyone is pulling together to make our on-campus school experience the best and safest it can be. Another important way that we can help keep everyone safe, especially ourselves, is to wash our hands frequently. We'll have plenty of opportunities to get a good 20 seconds of scrubbing in between our activities. When we can't get to a sink, using a hand sanitizing station is quick and easy. Using the hand sanitizing stations for a quick clean, especially after touching a surface or handling something others have touched, is a great way to stay safe. When we're in our classes, we should follow instructions so we know where to sit or stand. Eventually, we will do it without thinking about it. But when we are learning, listening is very important. Sometimes our learning will be in large or whole groups when we are learning together. Our friends that are learning from home will be involved too. We will have to be extra helpful to make sure our teachers can teach all of us. Sometimes we may need to be a little more patient, but we will all get what we need. When we learn in smaller groups, we will still need to be responsibly distanced. Our teachers have been planning for weeks for us to come back in our buildings. And if we all do our part, we'll have the best learning experience we can have. Our friends will be right there with us, just not too close. We can still talk and laugh and learn, but with our mask on and in our healthy space. What happens at lunch? Can we still be safe and healthy when we're all going to lunch at the same time? Of course! Our school lunch staffs have found lots of ways to make sure we all get fed and stay responsibly distanced. Whether we eat in the cafeteria or in our classrooms, if we follow instructions, we'll all be happy, healthy, and full. As we prepare to head back into our school buildings or continue with our remote learning, we all have the opportunity to do our part and keep each other safe and healthy. Wash your hands frequently for 20 seconds or use the hand sanitizer located throughout the school. Watch your distance and keep space between your classmates, your teachers, and other people who work at your school. And wear your mask. Together, we are going to make this our best and most memorable year yet. Join us as we keep Henry healthy.
So as you can see in that video, there's a lot articulated through the visual aspects of what will take place once students return to campus, of course, as well as our employees. And we're so excited to be able to provide that opportunity for them once again, if that's what they choose. Now, there's another component that had to really become evident for us, our board, to make the decision to start the phase in return. And that was really looking at some of the health metrics. And part of the health metrics, we also, have had a strong partnership with members of the healthcare community. And we're embarking on a readiness assessment that will be completed ahead of students returning that will give our healthcare community the opportunity to assess how our buildings are ready to welcome students back. And we're excited to have the healthcare community come into our schools to provide us with some feedback. Isn't that right, Mary Elizabeth?
Yes, I think that's an important next step as we get closer and closer to September 28th, as we open our doors and ask for an evaluative lens of our medical professionals in the community who have been key partners every step along the way in our preparations, from pediatricians to executives at Piedmont Henry to our Department of Public Health partners, as well as our own nursing staff here in Henry County Schools. We will all convene and walk through a cluster of schools, an elementary, a middle, and a high, as a way to examine and actually review the COVID-19 mitigation protocols that have been established, put in place, practiced, and prepared for students' return. We will take that feedback, we will make final refinements, and we know that we will continue to get better and better as we near September 28th and then continue to evolve as an organization. Now, I wanted to also mention that, of course, our medical community has been such a key partner. It's also why here in Henry County, we have identified 4 key health metrics that we are constantly monitoring and actually making available on our district website so that our community can see those metrics in order to make decisions about the appropriateness of responsibly opening schools. In particular, the plan for Henry County Schools outlines 4 health metrics. The first is the new cases in a 14-day period for 100,000 people in our community. The second is the daily average rate of new cases for our community in that same 14-day period. The third is the hospitalization rate as an indicator of the severity of the cases, as well as the infrastructure of our medical community to manage the healthcare needs of our community. And fourth will be the transmission rate per school when schools are open with students. We, of course, want to continue to commit to our community that there will be no safer or healthier public place to be than in a Henry County school, and we will monitor our metrics as it relates to the greater community and ensure that that continues to be the case. Now, no one metric alone in isolation makes the decision for our community. Instead, it is the integration of all 4 metrics, the advisement of our healthcare professionals, and the evaluation of the conditions in our school settings that will give us the information needed. I think it'd be great to take a moment and look at the metrics that the board reviewed at the board meeting on Monday night.
So let's take a quick navigation of our Henry County Health Dashboard. This is for all 239,000 residents in the Henry County community. And if you could start by just scrolling over the top left, these are the total cases since March in Henry County. This is all of our community. This will always be increasing. This is an accumulating number that will always be on the rise, as it is a raw count over time. But let's go down one data point and look at the 14-day new case rate per 100,000 residents. This is the data point you hear very often on the news, and this is the data point that a lot of districts are looking at specifically. That highest bar, that is the darkest purple, that you see towards the center of that bar graph, actually represents the reporting week of July 17th. The week when this Board of Education did decide to delay the start to school and begin with a remote-only option. But if you could just look at the very promising outlook that has continued to unfold in the weeks following, you can see we have hit a record new low on the 14-day new case count, and as a matter of fact, are actually entering pre-June numbers. That is the kind of trend we had believed to be possible, and we believe is a part of our entire community coming together in order for us to open schools responsibly. So the next data point comes from the Harvard Research Review that recommends also using a daily average of new positive cases over that same 14-day period. As you can see, we have dropped to an all-time low of the new average cases of COVID-19 here in the Henry County community, now standing at about 8.7 new cases on average over the last 14 days. The Harvard Research Review is recommending that communities be nearing 25 per day as they consider opening schools. And you can see how well above average Henry County community is doing on that metric. Okay, and I'll be brief on the next 2. They're really just different ways to look at the same numbers. This is your raw count of new cases since last week. Of course, it's going to show that same trend, pulling from that same data source. But importantly, we are looking at numbers that are now nearing that 100 per 100,000 cases mark, and that is a very promising trajectory for our community. and it represents just 0.06% of our entire community being impacted with a new COVID positive case in the last week. I just want to point to these data points as one, important for us to continue monitoring, also important for us to continue using it as a matrix of multiple data points, but also as an expression of my gratitude to the greater community who has joined us in this belief that our schools having the opportunity to reopen is an opportunity for all of us to contribute.
So as a reminder, all the information that we're bringing to you here and we're referencing that was shared during our board meetings can be found on our website, including the full on-demand availability of the actual meetings. You can find those on our website under the board meetings. You can also, again, all the stuff that we've shared from the back to school playbooks to just, relevant information to help our families feel comfortable during this very uncertain season of education during a pandemic. You can find all that on our website. The back to school area, we have a COVID section as well, but your schools or our district website provides you instant access to all the information that we brought you here during our meeting. And we would encourage you to always check there first, as that would be the primary source for sharing information to all audiences and stakeholders here in Henry County. Of course, it was interesting to be back in the boardroom once again. We did welcome back some of our very first attendees. We have started to responsibly, the board has been very excited to responsibly welcome people back to that space. We had a limited audience, obviously, due to COVID restrictions, but we were glad to see people in the audience once again. And we were able to walk through in front of those individuals our normal board meeting operations. Of course, we had a few other business items that were taken care of. We had our financial reports and, of course, our construction report, but we also had the opportunity to set as an annual process the time and place for all of our board meetings for the next year. And our board heard that. And they will take action on that next month. And then, of course, we had a couple other business items, a sick leave bank update. And then, of course, we had a resolution with the Georgia Vision Project. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's actually right. And the board reviewed a recommendation to actually join the Georgia Vision Project as a way of demonstrating our commitment to the greater environment of public education. Our Board of Education has been seen as a leader in the state, and they have been actually recognized as a finalist for Governance Team of the Year, and really have some exemplary practices that are being studied by districts around our region. And as such, becoming a member of the Georgia Vision Project really links to a larger network of officials who are contributing to ensuring every child has access to a high quality education, and our pursuit is a model for doing so. There was unanimous agreement that our board become a part of the Georgia Vision Project, and what I really believe is it is a continued exemplar that our Board of Education is leading really large and really complex work in a way that is really inspiring to others around us. So it was great, and that really rounded out the business that came before the board.
And of course, also as part of our traditional business session that takes place at 7 o'clock each month for our board meetings, we had the opportunity to have some student inspiration, albeit a virtual inspiration. We were able to hear from, hear a compilation of students across the district, educators across the district, sharing out a Mask Up campaign that we want everyone to take part in as part of our larger Keep Henry Healthy campaign, because we know that when students wear masks, when individuals wear masks, that it helps promote a healthy environment, and that's what we're all striving for, so we can get everybody back in school as soon as possible. We also had the opportunity to recognize several individuals as part of our awards and recognition. Now, some of these did, stem from last school year, but we were glad to be able to finally recognize them in front of an audience. We were able to recognize Jaden Williams from Dutchtown High School for his accomplishments. We were able to also recognize the Dutchtown High School boys basketball team for their state championship last year. Then, of course, we had a large number of recognitions for the National History Day participants from Henry County for their local, state, and national participation. Valerie Sue Smith, our Chief Human Resources Officer, was recognized for being named the Jim Puckett Outstanding Educator Award for her involvement with the Georgia Association of School Personnel Administrators. And then we were able to also recognize our 6 semifinalists for the District Teacher of the Year Award. Of course, they'll be vying for that on October 22nd. I know that's a huge recognition for them. Isn't that right, Mary Elizabeth?
It really is. And celebrating the teaching profession is just really timely. There is never been a time that this profession has been more complex than it is today. And the impact our teachers are having on young lives, as well as their ability to rise to this unprecedented occasion, really reveals they are the best of the best. Celebrating our Teachers of the Year is really about celebrating our profession. And I was really excited to actually have a chance to see the energy that our 6 Teacher of the Year semifinalists immediately brought with them. It was nearly contagious. And I know that's what's happening in every one of our schools here in Henry County.
Yeah, like we said, October 22nd, we will crown the winner, if you will, for the district's top teaching honor. We're so excited to be able to do that. More information will be coming out about that in the near future. So stay tuned, but also keep in tune with all the Teachers of the Year that we've been recognizing across our social media platform, as well as on our website. You can find out what makes them so unique and so special, the things that they like, the things that have inspired them. And we hope that you'll celebrate all their grand accomplishments, including this latest honor as being named their school's Teacher of the Year. So, of course, one of the other ways we round out the meeting is we get the opportunity to welcome new team members. And each month we are so excited to be able to bring to our team the talents of different individuals that will be filling roles at our district office or in throughout our school system. And last night was no different. We had the opportunity to welcome some new team members. And Mary Elizabeth, I know that you were excited to see their hard work benefit our school system.
It is always my favorite part when we get to celebrate our team, and so let me take a moment to welcome the newest assistant principal at Union Grove High School is Veronica Copeland. Welcome to the team, Veronica. And our newest coordinator of accountability is Joshua Heath. Joshua is coming from Locust Grove High School and joining the learning and performance team, and we are excited about his immediate impact. And we were also pleased to see the board appoint a chief financial officer who will work alongside our retiring current CFO officer, and that is Shanika Clay, the new chief financial officer. Congratulations to the team members, and we know great things are on the horizon.
Well, that wraps it up for this month's board meeting recap. As always, we thank you so very much for tuning in, your interest in what our Board of Education is doing on behalf of our students and our entire community each and every month. They do a tremendous job, and we're so lucky to have them serving the youth of this community, and we're so glad to be able to bring all the wonderful things that they do each month to you. So from myself and on behalf of Superintendent Davis, we thank you and we look forward to seeing you next month. As is the case with most board meetings, there's a lot more information that you're able to witness being there in person or watching the full version on demand that we're unable to bring to you here in this very short board meeting recap. The links to those presentations and videos can be found in the description section directly below this video.